Hello everyone, and welcome back to my book review where I give unhinged, spoiler-free recaps of books that I've recently or not so recently read. And today we are talking about Foe by Ian Reid. This book is about a sweet old couple living on a little farm. They are just living their lives, and then a government agent comes over and says, "Hey, one of you has been chosen to go up into space on a spaceship for however long, and we're going to replace you with a robot, so we have to train you for that." Okay. Wow, strange. It's a book about distrusting the government. Like, mainly. Don't trust government agents. Don't trust the people who randomly walk up and knock on your house and say, "Hey, we need you to do government stuff in space," especially. Like, no. But this is also about how do you make a marriage last? Okay, ignore the people shouting in the background. Those are my lovely parents. I live in a black household. You know, tensions are high because politics is happening. Let me tell you this. I knew things were up from the jump. I'm not going to tell you why, because that will reveal the secret, but I knew things were up from the jump. I saw it. I saw the writing on the page and I was like, oh, clocked. Got it. I know that something's happening. What is happening? I can't say. I didn't know. But I knew that something was going on. And then a whole bunch of stuff happened. And also, sort of nothing happened. It's a lovely short book. This was a fun read. It's a psychological thriller. I love psychological thrillers. For a while, I was reading a lot of psychological thrillers that were about, sending people to the fishes. But I am glad that I sort of shifted into psychological thrillers that are more about people grappling with sort of psychological stuff going on with themselves, relationship issues, because sometimes that stuff is really scary. I think romantic relationships are confusing, and that scares me. I don't really like being confused. So this was a genuinely scary book. It was also really fun and intriguing. I highly recommend it. Oh, it's fun. It's a good one. It's a real page turner, is what I'll say. You read it and you go, okay, what's happening? What's going on? What's going on? Why are we acting like this? Seems like we're being a little strange. And people are being a little strange. Next time, I'm sorry to say we are going to get into some sad stuff. We are going to talk about a book that touches on climate change. Very poignant right now, considering all of the horrendous natural disasters. It's going to be a little sad. If you don't want to listen to something sad, don't watch it. But if you feel prepared, let's get into it. Okay, I will see you next time. Bye! Hello everyone, and welcome back to my book review where I give unhinged, spoiler-free recaps of books that I've recently or not so recently read. And today we are going to be talking about a book that might be a little sad, but it's also very hopeful. The Great Displacement by Jake Bittle. This is a book, very simply, about climate change, but it's also a book about ways that people are migrating because of climate change. I read this book because I was interested in learning more about climate change. I just didn't really know all that much about it, except that it was this big, scary thing that was going to take us all out with the heat death of the earth. I didn't know about how it was really affecting people, and so that's what I wanted to learn in this book. And I really love intersectionality. Shout out to Kimberly Crenshaw. When I got this book, I didn't realize how intersectional it was going to be, but yeah, y'all, it's real intersectional. It shows that there's so many overlapping things when it comes to the climate crisis. I really enjoyed this book. I enjoyed reading it. It was sad at times, yeah, because the world isn't doing great. But there's hope. There's hope for the future. And I think there were 3 key things that I took away from this book. Number 1, the land back movement is so important. Indigenous people in the US have been talking about it since colonization, right? Indigenous people in the US and Indigenous people globally have been taking care of this land, and due to colonization, imperialism, industrialization, and just general greed in terms of land acquisition and mineral acquisition, people have just torn up the earth and are depleting it of natural resources. I would love some book recommendations in terms of what Indigenous people are saying about land back. I have read a few articles, I've watched a few videos, but I really love reading books, so I would love a book about that. The second thing that I found important in terms of this book was migration. I think we as a society in the US are supposed to be moving with nature. That's what I think. That's what I gleaned from this book. Not saying that that's what the author was saying, but I thought, it seems like there was a way of living before this idea of permanent structures came into play. And that way of living didn't, cause the heat death of the universe. So, just something to think about. The third thing that got into my head was colonization really did a doozy on us. It really did a doozy on us. Colonization has led to this idea of hyper-individualism and over-consumption and overproduction, and we are just snatching all of the good natural resources out of this earth and using it for nonsense and then keeping it until it rots. And it's not everyone, and it's not everything. It's some. It's some. People are creating a false scarcity. It's upsetting. But the funny thing about this book is that for all of the scary things that were happening, there was still so much hope. There is a brighter future for us. I know it. And also, there are testimonials from real people who are talking about how their lives were changed by certain climate events. These people still had hope. I think that the most important thing in terms of living through tragedy is to have hope. And it can seem impossible, but we have to hope for a better future. We have to work towards a better future as well. It's an amazing book. I would highly recommend it if you want to learn more about climate change, if you want to learn more about people's migratory patterns, definitely pick it up. For next time, we are going to talk about a little space book. A little space book? No, a big space book about a little space guy by an author who's known for writing big space books about little space guys. I love this author. I've only read 2 of his books because they are a bajillion pages long, and so it takes me like 3.5 months to finish them. Okay, see you next time. Bye! Hello everyone, and welcome back to my book review where I give unhinged, spoiler-free recaps of books that I've recently or not so recently read. And today we are going to be talking about a big ol' space book, and that is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This book is about a man who wakes up on a spaceship. He doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know what's going on. And through a series of flashbacks and a lot of him just randomly knowing information, he realizes who he is, why he's there, mostly partially, and also the fact that he's there to save the Earth.
really to save the sun in order to save the earth. He meets a little friend along the way. We're right here, right? That is the most important part of this book for me. His friendship with the sweetest being that I can imagine. Oh my gosh. I was recommended this book by my professor during undergrad, and I'm very thankful for him recommending this book to me. At first, I was wary about reading it because I thought, I'm not big into science, but I read it and I realized, oh my gosh, I don't have to know the science stuff. He's figuring it out, and also the science stuff is irrelevant to the way that I read it. If you want to like do a full nice little deep dive into the science, and if you know physics, chemistry, a little bit of biology, that kind of stuff, you'll love it. You'll eat it up. But for me, I was reading it and going, that's some science words. And now we're doing stuff. And now we're talking to non-humans. And now we're talking to humans in the past. And so I just sort of pushed that to the side and just kept reading. It's a fun book that is about friendship and community and the nasty effects of climate change and how governments and government officials are happy doing nothing until it's too late, being really quiet and tight-lipped about the fact that things are really bad, and then going against everything that scientific officials are saying and doing whatever the heck they want to do instead. Yeah. I love this book. It's so good. It took me like 3 months to finish it because I'm a slow reader, but it was really good. I enjoyed it. I think it should be turned into a graphic novel if it hasn't been turned into one already. Okay, for next time, we're going to talk about a book that I did not like even one little bit. It's considered a classic. It is such a well-known trope and commonly used trope in media in the US because it's a boring book. And it's so short, which makes that even worse. Like, how are you so boring and so short? Like, one or the other. Anyways, yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.